Oh, hi everyone! Welcome to today's interview. An interview with Alice, the brains behind this operation, the one with the crafty crafting of the crafty tales. Before we say hello to Alice, let's give out our usual notifications. So here are our social links. You can find our Discord, Twitter, and YouTube. Discord for community, Twitter, send me a DM and I'll get you a game, and YouTube you can catch up on all our wonderful shows, including Mouse Guard, which would normally be streamed at this time, but we had the finale last week, so no more Mouse Guard. We have a Patreon. Head over and check out our Patreon. There is exclusive content over there, and there's also non-exclusive content. Excuse me. You can enjoy both. For as little as $1 a month, you can get access to 99% of the content on there that is restricted. We also have merch. There it is on Redbubble. And today, I believe with the code STOCKING25, you can get 25% off of all of their merch site-wide. So go and check that out, and maybe go and see if you could snag yourself a Scrackers hoodie. Really comfortable, by the way. I genuinely do. So merch, Patreon. We also have sponsors. We have Maychan Press. Maychan Press created the Dark Matter 5e expansion in space. And oh boy, is there a lot of content on it. You should check that out on Thursdays at 1 PM EST, and we'll also probably be talking about it a little bit today. We also are sponsored by Bird in the Storm Publishing. Bird in the Storm Publishing, who will be creating some new content with us next year. We'll be starting on that in January. And they have some wonderful merch, and the proceeds go to charity, so go and check those out too. What else do we have? We do have a tweet. No Wild Magic Surges today, but the tweets will still be very much appreciated. So please do consider going and retweeting the stream to let all your friends know what you're doing and come and join us in the chat room. Today we will be taking questions. If you would like to fire questions at us, please do. I have my own questions to ask my wonderful wife, but of course I'll be asking questions from the perspective of not only a DM, but also a husband. So if you have a question that you want answered, or that I'm not thinking of, then by all means. The PDF update is tentatively planned for the 15th. Cool, just as we finish our first season. Our last day of our first season will be on the 16th of December. So, something in my throat. Alice, oh hi!
Hi, this is a little weird. I've never been interviewed before other than like a job interviews. But I'm really looking forward to just chatting TTRPGs, D&D, all of it. So I don't know what you're going to ask me, but I will try and answer as best I can. And I will, as I said, I'll take any questions from the chat as well, because you're as much a part of this interview as both of us, I feel. So.
Well, Alice, I mean, I know where I want to begin. So let's first of all start by talking about our different DM styles. Because I know that I make Alice sweat, and I think Alice makes me sweat sometimes when we look at our different styles. Being husband and wife, we are very, 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 very different DMs. The only thing we won't talk about today, as Justin has just so helpfully reminded me, is that we won't be giving away any spoilers for the finales. No spoilers. But we will begin. I will get to that one in a second. So when you guys have questions, just leave them there in chat. I will scroll through in a minute and go and have a look at them. I'm a no prep DM. My favourite games are the ones where I turn up and I don't even know what system we're playing. I love that as a DM. I thrive on it, and I love to take the chaos everywhere. I even do it in long-term campaigns. I am the sort of DM that will throw a few fishing line plot hooks. I literally use plot hooks like any other plot device, and just see where the story's gonna go, you know, see which ones the characters take and which ones they don't. And that is how I will build whole seasons. Now, Alice, on the other hand... Oh, hi, Alice. How do you like to do your games?
I plan, and one of my other favourite people on this planet, Tool School, is also a planner. So he's actually normally one of the people I go to when Scrat is in a game I can plan with. As people know, Tool School is in Eberron this season, so I can't plan with him. But I do. I plan a lot, and I really plan for the characters, the setting, the lore, literally every single bit of the game. And just a heads up, I can see a question in chat.
Yeah, I know. I said I'll get to the questions in a second. Let's just introduce ourselves.
But yeah, I am a heavy lore DM. I'm heavy on, I think, character development and creation, which I try and weave into the story so that it's a mixed process as a whole. Well, my favorite thing is character development. So when I can make that a massive part of the story, that's probably one of my favorite things to do.
So let's address the questions first. What do you think are the best lessons new players should learn, Alice?
Don't get hung up on the rules. Don't panic that you've rolled the wrong dice. Don't go, oh my god, why didn't I cast this spell? Why didn't, what was the exact meaning of this spell? I find I got more confident the more I was telling a story. The more because I think it enables you to get into your character quicker than going, hang on a minute, I need to roll 1d8 for this, that, and you lose it.
Or even worse, being so nervous about the rules that you start correcting other people. If you ever find yourself interrupting the narrative to correct someone of a rule, just
don't
stop.
Yeah.
Just stop and reassess what you're here to do. That'd be my advice.
At the end of the day, you're here to have fun. Now, if a slight rule slip up, that's not going to ruin your fun. That's not going to the end of the world isn't going to happen. If you accidentally roll something with a plus or a minus or whatever, that doesn't mean the game is ruined at all.
And also, there are times when the DM might take a rule and adjust it, because the DM has final say. For example, a spell might specifically say that this thing only does this, and then Alice might go, yeah, but then I could use it for a mind-altering thing, so I'm going to do that. And then if you're sitting there going, well, the rules say, then you're missing the point.
Yeah.
That'd be my
the only time I've manipulated the rules is literally to better the story, or some things aren't. So as much as all the rules are awesome and whatever, some of them don't always fit in with the story. So if you twist it, or you tweak it, twist is the wrong word, if you tweak it and help, like say this spell only like as Scrat said, this spell only does this, well actually that doesn't exist in this world, so it needs to be able to do this instead.
So
and I have shame in that.
I have a question for you, Alice.
Oh no, yes.
We've seen in Eden, if any of you have been watching Eden all along, you can go back to episode 1 and you can start seeing the hints of what's going to happen, that you have no idea what's going to happen to begin with. And it's even more prevalent in Argo 37, where we literally are travelling back in time, and having seen things and thought, oh my god, we are not doing that ever, we go back in time and find ourselves thinking, actually, that's going to be the best course of action for us. Even though we said at the time that we would never do that, that's definitely going to be the best course of action for us. When you're planning these really complicated, because they're essentially, you're planning multiple time loops.
Yeah, my brain is. It's
how?
I love these so much. I think I put so much into these stories. Don't get me wrong, my brain is fried. Trying to remember everything, like I think someone said in the last Argo 37, they're like, trust you, Alice, well done, you remember all of this. And I'm like, and it hurts. Like my brain is fudged for like a couple of days, just knowing that for those 3 hours, I need to remember these details. When we went back to the point where it was the Blister and Alara and all that sort of thing, they were in the spacesuits, and it was them who dragged Telemachus away from you originally.
Even though I remember distinctly shouting as Blister at the time, If that was me on a spacesuit, I'd never drag Telemachus away like that without any sort of explanation.
And you had to do it without explanation.
There we are at the end thinking, well, actually, they can't hear us. We need to get Telemachus out of this situation.
And that's how you do it. It's... Sorry, what was the question again?
How do you plant those seeds? Because you are a planner, so I know that you've planned the ending. I mean, I don't know the extent of how you plan. We can maybe go into that as well in a moment, but let's stay with this point for a minute. When you're doing your whole planning thing and you're planning your timeline, how do you decide where you're gonna spot your seeds?
If I know what's gonna happen, and to be honest, I don't always know what's gonna happen, because with D&D, with TTRPGs, you don't know what the player's gonna do. They can suddenly go, well, I'm now going to go and do this, like, head off and do their own thing or act a certain way. Where I know what's going to happen, I can go, right, this is inevitable, this stage. So I almost make a generalized seed. Okay. And then I will watch each and every one of you react to it. And then I will flavor it as it goes on. And then to you, it looks like the link has been there the entire time. I know it sounds really messed up and manipulative. That's not what I'm trying to do.
Because that's exactly what I do with no prep.
Do with it. So
I totally know what you mean. So that's sort of what I do, except I'm a bit more blunt with it. So I'll plant a seed without even realizing I'm doing it. Sometimes it just happens. Like I'll be like, what's a good example? There's a time when we were playing Wizards and Wardrobes in the first season, and Chorus summoned his ancestors, and I summoned his mother, whom he knew to be alive. His reaction to that was so stark because... Hey, thanks for the follow. I need to put new follower up. I thought I already did that. Oh, I disabled it for some reason. There we go, now you can see it. I planted that seed with the intention of taking it further. So this season, for example, taking them on to see his mother when she is... What happened to his village? You know, it's a seed for the next season, almost. But also, that was the one that I planned more than usual. I wrote a whole A4 side for that. Alice, how much do you normally prep?
I'm not telling anything. All I'm saying is, can I please have some new notebooks? Because I'm all out for season 2.
So I've got my notebook.
For season 2.
I've got my notebook, which I bought when we started our Red Bubble, which is
what,
how long ago was
ago?
it? 8, probably even more than that. So we've been doing this for about years. Let's say 8 months. So let's say 8 months for an example. I've had the one A5 notebook, and this is how much space I still have left. Empty pages. This
book here is Argo 37. This is Argo 37. Everything that's happened, everything that is going to happen is in this.
So
and I've got the same for Eden, and I've got the same for Eberron. And I need more.
Without giving anything away, Alice, how do you prep? What does this consist of? Because for me, I've got no idea. I do my prep streams, I show people how I prep. You know how I prep.
Okay,
how do you prep?
So at the beginning of every season, and anyone who will come into a campaign with me or anything like that, I will send out a sheet, and it's got questions on it about the character, like what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, what do they love, what do they hate, like simple. And then a brief backstory. And then I will weave that in and add an adventure into that. I know some people have the adventure and then weave characters in. I do the complete opposite. Now, the only difficult thing with Argo 37 is the wonderful, wonderful V, one of my favorite people, joined us later. I never, ever had that information on her. So everything with V is fairly spontaneous until I worked out where I wanted this character. I needed her to play it more so I could see who this character was. So, and not only that, I couldn't guarantee that you were going to take Telemachus. In fact, Blister was going to leave Telemachus.
Yeah.
It was only one of the other players, one of the newer players, that they were like, no, we need to take this child. I had a backup whole nother route in case you didn't take Telemachus. Because as you can probably guess, she's pretty pivotal.
Oh, she has become pretty pivotal, yeah, but I mean, I'd have also been interested. So this is the interesting thing, because what you're saying is you do improv. It sounds like you improv the hell out of it.
Yeah, I have a basis.
But you also prep. Like...
Okay, don't hate me.
Right.
Argo 37 last week. I don't know if you remember, I had that migraine a couple of days before. I've been having a lot of headaches lately, probably because I'm looking at a screen a lot. Argo 37 last week was pure improv. All of it. I hadn't planned for any of it. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know how I was going to get you there. I knew things
you sit on a throne of lies.
That one was my first, and it terrified me because I was like, Alice, you don't know what you're doing.
It was amazing.
You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if your music lined up. You don't, but it was there, so it was linked. So there were some things I was like, oh my God, if this doesn't match up, then I'm dealing with time. Things need to match up.
It's got very, very timey-wimey.
So, like when I was trying to remember, I was like, where was Blister? It wasn't Blister who saw the screen originally. He was actually out and about with the Wizmos, which is why I had the Wizmos in the room with you getting confused. They were confused. They were like, hang on a minute, which one? There are details that I throw in from memory, like if you go back and watch that episode, the Wizmos are firing at nothing. You think they're causing chaos. They weren't. They were fighting this Ica that you couldn't see, but they could see it.
So you knew at the time that it was there?
Yes.
You weren't just riffing?
What do you mean?
You knew the Ica was there. You weren't just riffing and making them fire at nothing, but you've used that later on.
Yeah. So the Ica has always been there. But you can't necessarily see it because what is it in? I can't say too much, but what is it in? What timeline is it on? Like the Ica, like it was reaching out for young Telemachus, which is why Alara, V's character.
Hang on, you made it Alara's character from the future that grabbed Telemachus?
Yes.
At the time?
At the time, yes.
Okay, now that... Okay, no. I'm drawing a line right there. Okay, so like, I can see a creature grabbing Telemachus, yeah?
Yeah.
And carrying it away at the time, and then later thinking, well, they couldn't see it, we'll make that future Alara.
No, not at all. No, it was planned that it was going to be Alara. The difference is that I've got to somehow work out a way to make V do that, and V, or Alara I should say, loves Telemachus. So of course she will grab Telemachus. Telemachus is basically her daughter in this. She'll do anything to save her, even if it means scrambling the brains of earlier her.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh my. So Justin asks, would we consider doing a giveaway or an auction for the Argo 37 journal?
I'd be tempted, but I have to rewrite it because it doesn't make a lot of sense to most people.
People probably love that dime.
Yeah, but like I can't read that, and that's my writing.
The web is so thick.
Like,
no, your handwriting's beautiful.
I've lost it. Like if I wrote it up, because I won't lie, there's a little bit of Eberron in here as well, where I ran out of paper and suddenly had like an inspiration moment for Eberron. And season 2. I think there's 3 pages in here that are season 2, and none of it's in order because I'm a chaotic.
I would love a copy.
Writer. I'm a chaotic writer. Nothing's in order, but I could certainly think about doing something like that. If I write it up again, I'll get the same book.
Maybe I could get someone to type it up for us, because I know you don't have time. Maybe I could get someone to type it up for us, and we could.
I'll dictate it.
Offer it as a thing to someone. You don't have time to do that either.
Yeah, but no one is going to be able to read this. No one.
Alice, you've seen my writing. We'll get a mum.
No. I don't just mean handwriting. I mean code and drawings to remind myself when I was having a bad dyslexic day. This is like when I did my French exam and my whole thing was written in pictures. No one else could read it.
Anyway, so next question. How much prep have you done for next season?
Not a lot as of yet, for one reason. As I said, I weave a story into my characters, not characters into a story. So I need all of the places nailed down and in the group set up so I can start talking to those people. I want to know what this is the other thing. So when I first meet people, I say, what do you want adventure-wise? In fact, I think we were talking to Tiz Aliens about it when she sadly had to leave Eden. Mm-hmm. That was Cypher. So I went, look, I went to them. I've got 3-4 ideas for Cypher. What do you want to do? Which one do you want to do? And they all went sci-fi, which secretly is super happy about. But I had an idea, I will have a rough idea as to what's going to happen and what will happen, the basis of the world. And as particularly when it's Cypher in particular, I will offer up and say, what setting do you want?
Very easy, very malleable system for that.
Yeah, Cypher is awesome for that. So I went to the group, which now Eden, the Project Eden group, and said, I've got these 3 ideas. What do you want to do? And I'm going to be doing very similar with the next group. Not necessarily as much like to choose from, just because I've got a particular idea, which is something I've wanted to do for a very, very long time. And I'm going to offer it to them and see how. I mean, if they go, oh, I really don't want to do that, I'll change it, it's fine. They've got to enjoy it, otherwise you don't get the enjoyment. As a DM, I won't get the enjoyment if you're not enjoying it. I don't care how much I love my story. If you're not enjoying it, I'm like, bye game, it's not happening.
A player's DM, that's me as well. I often say that I don't really care about my story so long as all my players are enjoying it, otherwise...
It's their story as well, like it's literally everyone is in it. If there's one person enjoying it, if you all hated Argo 37, you're like, I'm not into timey-wimey stuff, I'm not into this all over the place, I'd have to rework it out because I can't have you playing a game you don't want to play. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so we've got more questions. We've got one from Justin. What shows, games are you running next season? I'm afraid we haven't made any official announcements yet. We'll be making some announcements soon.
Very shortly.
I will let you know that D&D 5e does feature. Cypher System does feature. And we're working with some new franchises as well.
And I'm running 3 campaigns again this year. I'll be running 3 campaigns.
Alice is running 3 campaigns. I'll be running... 4 campaigns.
Well, it was you or me. We didn't know which one was going to be running.
Yeah, that's it. Alice is running 3. I'm running 4. 2 of the ones I'm running are going to be viewer games. I'm going to be taking on some more viewer games next season. That should be fun.
I'm not. I'm actually taking a break from the viewer games.
Yeah, Alice is going into all more thingamajig, more focused cast.
Yeah.
Because it plays better with her playstyle, quite frankly, whereas the randomness of mine plays better with mine. So what shows, games are we running next season? So Michael Wayne asks, is it better to focus on great combat moments or great emotional moments?
Oh, both. It's finding the balance of all of it. I find, particularly because I'm a role play heavy person, emotional moments, whether it's sad, angry, something epic happens or whatever, I find they can work better. However, you can have an epic combat moment if there's not loads and loads. If it's just combat, you're like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go again.
It
if
also
you
depends
have
on the system as well.
Sorry?
Depends on the system as well. So, for example, D&D 5e combat, I find the 5e combat to be really slow, especially for a stream. Like, when you're sitting around a table, you can spend 4 hours creating this epic fight. When you're on a stream, come on, we've got to tell some story as well, you know? But other systems like Ryotama, I found the fighting to be so natural in that it's really fun, you know?
I really enjoyed that. But, so, we've only actually had two rounds of combat in Eberron in this whole season. And it makes, for me, a more powerful scene. So we had Torskel's character, Vesh. He is a storm giant, effectively. He's a paladin, and he's got this electricity. So the other thing I encourage is roleplay within the fighting aspects of it all. So when I say to someone, like when I said to Jay, I was like, hey, yeah, you can do this. How are you doing this? Describe to me as you do this move, and I will describe the reaction to the person you've attacked. Or, you know, at this point, he was blowing the door off of its hinges to save Tars. So I think you can blend them, or I blend them. It's down to you if you want to blend them or not. But I find mixing the role play in with the actual fighting aspects works really, really well.
Yeah, definitely. And so we've got more questions. Justin chimes in with, my philosophy as a DM is that it's the DM's job to create conflict and the player's job to create story. What do you think about this philosophy?
I think a lot of the time, yes. However, there are moments where I do nothing. I set the scene, I sit back and I watch them go. So there's a moment again in Eberron, 2 E's. And I just wanted them to experience their characters, and like as if it was in every day, they were in a massive fortress and Vesh walked across this huge stone sword bridge. I set the scene. I didn't provide any conflict or anything. I literally just let them go, and it's one of the best roleplay scenes because then the others, Tart walked in and was thriving off the fact that Vesh was having a good time, and Emet was walking behind him, making sure he didn't fall, which then created the bond between Vesh and Emet, the almost like grandfather-grandchild or father-son bond, just from little bits like that. So setting up scenes like that can do, I personally find, they're some of my favorites, but also set up a lot more for you than character development. I'm obsessed with character development, so people will always see that. So those sorts of scenes for me is where I will flavor it here and there and allow them to go. I won't create conflict. And I know conflict doesn't just mean fighting. It can be, there's a gust of wind. Roll this so you don't fall off. And I did get him to do a dexterity check, but I did it with advantage because Emet was there. And I just let them have the moment.
Yeah. So we'll come back to chat in a minute because I've just got a question. When you're looking at your players and you're creating these moments, what is it that tells you when a player needs more or less stimuli? So, for example, how did you know when you could let them go mad at the sword bridge? And how do you know when to give a bit more of a shove?
So, when you give someone an epic location like the sword bridge, I already knew a lot of their backstories and their characters. I knew that Vesh wanted to experience things. lived a very secluded life where he is the problem. He is this, but he dreams of battles, fantasies, epic things. So I gave him a sword bridge up in a massive height, and then I described the surroundings around him. Like, they had the Dagger River below. This was really high up, and then I won't lie, the music really helps, which is why I'm very picky with my music, and really describing the scene, but not in so much detail that they can't picture it, because sometimes too much detail means they're trying to look for that detail in their head. And I've forgotten the question. I'm really sorry, I went off on one there.
How do you know when to give them more? How do you know when to stimulate more out of people, and how do you know when to leave it?
There are moments when you can just leave it, and then the time when you need to like stimulate it is, I think you can see on people's faces a lot of the time. They go that little bit quieter. I think it's a learning curve. You just learn when people need that shove. If they suddenly, you can feel the stagnation of a scene. I know it sounds ridiculous, but you can feel it. If they sort of say things going, I slump against the wall and I wait. That's the other thing. They go, I wait. That's almost like a hint for someone to go, I'm waiting for you to tell me where to go, because I don't know. I
think I'm guilty of that one. I think I'm fairly sure I say that one sometimes.
Yeah, you do, and everyone in all my games does. And it's a good thing, but I leave it long enough so that, one, dramatic pauses can help with building a scene anyway, and two, it just makes sure there's no one else in the group that wants to approach someone and talk.
Yeah. So, let's see. Let's go back to the chat, actually. When do you think it is better for the choice of the player to determine things, or for the roles to determine things? So, how do you decide whether to let the players decide or whether the dice should decide?
I think it's down to individual situations. So, again, I'm going to use Vesh. Vesh is accident prone. He's very, very accident prone. So, sometimes when it doesn't mean that, oh my god, if you trip and fall, you're going to die. When it's not that situation, I'll go, roll it. Let's see what happens. Let's flavour the personality. Let's do the character development. However, when they were in the Temple of the Dark 6, I got him to roll. Now, I would have never gone, 100 people are attacking you. That's not what I would have done. I would have made something bad happen, but not gone, like I said, everyone's attacking you now. You're going to die. You're entering combat. Or, like, in fact, I think Jay and I spoke about this. On the sword bridge, he had perfect balance, and he's got a negative 3, negative 2 to his dexterity. And I was like, okay, roll it. I want to see before you step on the bridge. And he rolled perfectly. So we played it as the fact that this, for some reason, just uplifted his character. He suddenly felt confidence for once. He walked tall, he could do it, and then you play it like that. With the rolls, there's certain things I do let the dice decide. So when Lauren's character, Tart, I'm really sorry if this is a spoiler for anyone who hasn't caught up, when the crazy mum came back and she was acting all nice, that was all down to rolls. Because I thought, I can't give away too much too quickly.
Yeah.
I don't want to accidentally give them something away without them thinking to ask or do something. So I literally let them roll. Lauren was only followed about that house because I kept rolling badly. And she couldn't perceive it. I didn't roll bad. I was rolling very, very well on stealth. And what was I saying? Yeah, I rolled for her mother very well on stealth, and Tart could not roll a decent perception. So when she did, that's when we had the reveal. And it also is very much down to the people you're playing with. You've got to assess if people need help by they want the rolls to happen, or especially like with the Eberron group, especially for a couple of us, I think we know each other quite well. So I can spot when, say, Tall School wants to do a scene. So I will set up a scene for him. He won't necessarily know it's coming, but I will set it up and go, if he wants it, he can take it. He doesn't have to.
Fantastic. Yeah, like Michael Wayne says, he thought that whole bit was planned.
Yeah, none at all. None of that is planned.
So, you were rolling stuff behind the DM screen. Do you find that you do a lot of rolls hidden from the players?
No, I don't hide any of them at all. I just won't tell them what it's for.
Oh, I see. So you just roll it in plain sight, but...
Yeah, and then they go, what's that for? I'm like, meh. The same way I did on Argo 37, when you guys first did last week, when you did the teleport. You had the time transport.
Mm-hmm.
I did. Oh, you yawned. Why did you do that? Oh, sorry.
Maybe you caught that? I got my mouth closed and everything.
It doesn't matter, I can see you do it. It rolled a 1d2. And it was either you were going to go to the right place, or it wasn't going to work. First of all. So I thought, why not? Let's try it.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a drink real quick, because I'm really thirsty.
Yeah, okay. So what's your feedback so far, guys? How are you enjoying this little interview with me and Alice over here? Like, I'm really interested to get a detailed insight into Alice's mind, because, although obviously we live together and we're married, we often spend a lot of time working, and we don't really spend a lot of time talking about each other's campaigns. We talk about each other's campaigns a little bit. Like, sometimes if I'm thinking about something that I want to do, but I'm not quite sure how it's going to work, I'll go to Alice and be like, Alice, how should I do this, and vice versa. But it's interesting to get a deep insight into the mechanisms that are whirring behind those pretty eyes. So, let's see, let's go back to chat for a bit. We've got, what is something you as the DM thought would not work, but the players found a way to make it work? I've gone quiet?
Oh, I don't know. Hang on.
That should be better. Oh no, I have gone quiet, haven't I? I'm very quiet. There we go.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Hello.
Okay, so there was one magic surge, which was kind of tricky. Again, it was an Eberron. I tend to get more in Eberron. Derek's character is an Archmage Derek. Their character... Oh, what is happening?
We just got an anonymous gifter who gifted 5 tier 1 subs to the community. So Michael Wayne, Petit Mort, Kai Hawkeye, Tavern Tales Podcast, and Jelliot, you've each been gifted a tier 1 sub. Thank you so much, whoever you are.
Yeah, whoever you are, thank you. What was I saying? Yeah, so Derek's character, Kaya, rolled a Wild Magic Surge, and it was... The door opens to a portal. That was it. So I had everyone walk through the same door, but when Kaya walked through, it opened up to a door in the sky, and I had her drop feet, lots of, like, almost, you know, from a very large distance straight into the Dagger River. And that could have gone... I was like, oh my god, how am I going to do this? I know this is a magical world, but this is really random. But Derek went with it. I did, I gave him an NPC to react to, but otherwise he just went with it. And that could have gone either just really boring and felt unnecessary. But it didn't. It was just really random and like a weird burst of magic. If anything, I'd say.
So that's what is the wildest magic surge that you've run with, or the most difficult to implement? That you went, hell, I'll do it anyway.
You know, I don't know. None of them, I think I've been quite lucky with them. None of them have been too difficult to implement. If there's like one that's too ridiculous, I will say re-roll because I don't want it to ruin the story.
Yeah.
I'm very strict on that in the way that if someone says, you know, I don't know, you turn into a cheesecake, I'm like, nah, sorry. I can flavor it so much, but I don't want you turning into an item of food or something like that. Because to me, that doesn't give anything to the story. But I don't have to do it very often. So I use the oddities list from Numenera for Eden, and some extra ones thrown in. And every single one of those I have used, even last week, and we found it touched a nerve. And you know what? I should have re-rolled. The group was fine, and that's what the safety systems are for. But yeah, I've used every single one, I think.
Yeah.
So.
And I love a Wild Magic Surge. Do things in the real world inspire you to do things differently in your game? Another question from Michael Wayne.
Okay. I have a degree in history. I have a degree in history, and I have a degree, like modules of it in archaeology. So a lot of that comes into my style of work. One of my favorite things to do is get out and about. I remember going out with my friends when I was younger, like on an adventure or whatever. And a lot of that.
I'm sorry, what did you do?
And a lot of that inspires things I do. So there's some places in the world I have been, and they heavily influence my game, but I tweak them. So, okay, I'm trying to think of one. So when I went to Rome, we then went to the outskirts around Italy and Sorrento, and we found some old Roman temples and things like that. And they're impressive structures. They're stunning structures. And I will implement that. It won't be that temple. It won't be that whatever. But everything is flavored. So what else is there? One of my main modules in archaeology was religion and ritual, and how people perceive things like old gods and the practices people would use, and that can influence things. In fact, I can't remember if it was an IRL game or it was in a Necromancer's Wish. Everyone knows Stonehenge. I'm assuming. I know British people will know Stonehenge. There is also Woodhenge, but the one a lot of people do forget about is Seahenge. Now, Seahenge is one that did influence, I think. Oh, no, it was a one-shot. It was a one-shot with Potato Hollow and some of the others in there as well. So Seahenge it's still around when the tide goes out. It was a tree, well, lots and lots of wooden circles, and there looks to be a huge tree trunk at the center. So the way that the people stop me if I'm going too off on my degree.
You carry on. I'm enjoying it thoroughly.
They took a tree. The druids uprooted a tree, and they dug a massive hole, and they turned it upside down and put it in the earth, put it in the sand. To them, they were, or my interpretation of it, I could be wrong, it's all interpretation, they are planting a tree in the other world they believed was there. So, in my head, I then go, oh, what was this other world like? Why this? Why that? That's why I use mirrors, liminality. It's why I use water, liminality.
You use liminality all the time.
It's what I know, but it's also what I can flavor. The world we are in, not to sound too cheesy, is magical. So we had people believed all these things years and years ago because it is amazing. We just didn't have the answer for it.
It's like when you go to Stonehenge and you realise that all the stones line up with the magnetic fields of the earth, and all that jazz, or
It's not even that. It's because I don't think that's right.
is it
But no. But all of those stones
I'm not
came
age
from all of those stones in the Stonehenge came from a place called the Preseli Mountains in Wales.
Mhm.
Now, though that is that's miles and miles away. People went there for a specific reason and dragged them all the way back. They're big freaking rocks. And they shaped them and everything like that. So for a story, I might go, what if someone did that? And why did they do it? Don't think of science. Don't think of that. Why would those people think to do that? The same way that you go, oh, okay, old gods, whether it's Norse gods or anything like that, you go, how I play it is, okay, they believed in this. They thought it was real. They are real. If you believe it's real, that's real. And that is how I will influence from the world around me effectively. All places I go, it's why I make such a big point of travel. I love travel. Not just because I think, oh, this is pretty, let me take a photo. Like, it influences everything.
Yeah.
Like, literally everything. And it's really cold because I've just opened the door, so I'm going to grab a blanket because I'm an old woman.
Beautiful old woman. Yeah, so I hope that answers your question, Michael. That's... Whew! So Alice's brain's definitely wired differently. When I'm thinking about these sort of things, I'm always thinking about what's going to be cool. That's basically I'm a rule of cool DM, you know. I'm like, well, where can we find the next cool moment? I did actually, to be fair, when I prepped the first was the wardrobe season, I did do a lot of stuff about the Colosseum and the orcs and how they grew up differently, being segregated, being alone, growing up in a place that was trying to kill them. It was interesting. But Alice's brain definitely works a different way. I'm inspired by a lot of books.
And books. Oh, read, people, read!
Yeah. I'm trying to think of questions that make for a good interview. Well, they've been good so far. So, Alice.
Yes?
What's your favourite system?
Can't ask me that.
I can.
I haven't played enough. So, at the moment, it's Cypher as a DM.
Because of the freedom?
The freedom, and because my brain just goes like half the time. I might go, I really want to do this. That's not going to work with this, or I will have to make them make a check here, or something like that. But then I like D&D for a whole nother reason, because I can ask these checks. However, I haven't had the opportunity yet, but I really, really want to run Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah.
I really want to run it. I want to try Ryutama. I want to... There's another one, I've forgotten the name of it. Really annoying me. It's one of the books you got me. The one that Katie recommended.
Oh,
I don't... Alas the Sea, or something like that.
Alas the Dread Sea, or
Alas the Dread
the
Sea.
Awful Sea, or something like that.
And there's so many I want to do, and I am bringing a new system to the channel in season 2, a brand new system, and it terrifies me, but at the same time I'm very excited to see what it is, how well I can use it for my end. I think the reason Cypher appeals to me is because I could, yeah, there we go, Alas for the Awful Sea. The reason Cypher appeals to me is because I can do any setting. Any setting I want. And for the character creation, it's so general that, I mean, Zelda's character in Eden is a magic user, which is what we saw last week for the first time. And I think because that didn't happen, it built up and everyone was like, whoa, what the hell? You can do that? I'm like, yeah.
Here we are 3 weeks before the end, and suddenly we've got a magic user, yeah. I
mean, Zelda came to me, and I said to her, I was like, don't look at the character stats from it. I was like, what do you want to play? what do you want to be? And she was like, I want to be a witch. And I was like, then we will find a class to fit it in. It's never been pick a class. It's, what do you want to play? That's it. So.
I think Rene did an article on this, on the character creation for Cypher System, and she used Cypher System to create me, and I was I
want to know what I am in Cypher System.
I can't remember what it was now. It's like a passionate speaker who evokes emotions or something like that. But
oh yeah, I remember reading that. Yeah. But this is the thing, I want to know what I am in Cypher System. I remember, in fact, sometimes it's good to ask, because I asked our wonderful Twitter community, what class and race would you put me in? And I was really shocked. I didn't think what I got. But I was also given explanations, and it made a lot of sense. So I think it's always interesting to ask. Like, so many people came back to me saying Elven Cleric. So many people. Jay was one of them, and he messaged me why, and I could see it.
Yeah.
But it shows you the perceptions. Anyway, that's going off topic. But point was, I said to Zelda, I was like, what do you want to play? Okay, then we'll make it work. I don't care if I have to tweak it. We'll make it work for you.
So, what do you think makes for a horrible scene?
A horrible scene? Do you mean like...
That's a good question. Do we mean... why don't we say... No.
Do you mean horror, or...
Let's go for the opposite. Let's go for a genuine nightmare. A scene you wouldn't want to be a part of. Or put your name to.
Oh, what? That I as a DM, I don't want to be a part of.
Yeah.
People hurting other players to make themselves look better as a player. Manipulating making other people feel uncomfortable just to be like, hey, I'm a really good role player, or you don't know, if someone has a grudge or something against someone else, putting that grudge in the game. That anything like that is immediate for me, is you're banned from my table. I don't care, you're a dick.
Yeah.
Using that sort of thing. Or if a DM or something creates a scene or something, when you know that person can't deal with that. I've had that. When you know someone can't deal with, like the lines and veils, it's the reason we do these things.
Oh yeah, I think that almost goes without saying. If someone was to break the... If
someone breaks that, I don't care who you are, I don't care what you do, how big you follow it, you're gone. It's a poisonous thing. I think it's probably also people who don't want to work as a team. And I don't mean like, yeah, our group's fun, let's go kill this together. I mean, people making it particularly difficult for other players to play, to be their character, to be themselves. And that's where I draw the line. Or if you have a veil, you've put it down, and someone has flagged it and gone, I don't know if you forgot, but this is a veil of mine. And you keep on going. You'll never ever come back at all. I was going to say sexual abuse on our channel is a big no-no. It's one of my veils. It's one of probably my only veil, really. Do
you mean line?
Line. I didn't mean veil. I meant line. And that's why we don't have it on the channel, because also no one wants to hear about that. No one wants to relive that or experience that. So
yeah,
try and bring anything like that to it. No.
What would be the best piece of advice you would give to someone considering starting to DM?
Okay, so before every single game, I still get really nervous. I do it now. In fact, Scrap can probably tell you, I was terrified before Eberron earlier today and Call of Cthulhu earlier today, and I do get nervous beforehand. I would say, one, have a group of people you know well, people who want you to do it, people who want to hear your story. Don't do this as I wrote an awesome story, this is a random bunch of people, I'm going to show you how good it is. Don't do it for that. if you're going to DM, enjoy it. Think of yourself as a player. Don't think of yourself as a DM. Think of yourself as, I'm just setting the scene. I'm playing the story. And do you know what? Even pick up an NPC as a safety thing, like to be like, I can still get involved like a player, so I don't feel too out of it. Yeah. I did that on a Necromancer's Wish. There was an NPC with the group, had no need to do it, but I felt slightly nervous about the story, and I brought in that NPC, and it was almost my safety net, I guess. But again, it's very much have fun. Don't worry. I know it's a really stupid thing to say, because I hate it when people say it to me. And they go, oh, don't worry, you'll be fine. It's like, no, you're going to panic. You're going to be nervous. You're going to freak, like me. You might not freak, but I freaked. And you might want to run away. But if you're with the right group of people, then play through it. You can be nervous. There's nothing wrong with being nervous. There's nothing wrong with fucking up. Like, you can, and this is what I mean again by like, don't worry about the rules too much. Just tell the story. Tell the story you want to tell and go along with it. And then you'll get more confidence as, I panic all the time, as again, Scrat knows, that I'm not a good DM, or that I've fudged a scene, or that I've maybe not included someone as much as I thought I was going to, or should have done. If we're
revealing like slight behind the scenes, there's very rare after doing an amazing stream that Alice won't come to me and be, do you think everyone enjoyed it?
Well, you want to check, don't you? It's different, because when you're, for me, when I'm a DM, I'm in the zone. So I want to make sure I haven't missed anything, or if I accidentally upset someone, or...
Can you describe the zone for us?
No. Not because I don't want to, but I don't know. I'm in the story. So I'm worried, what if I miss an upset externally? That someone's maybe not brave enough to put in the safety system for me to notice. I think that's it. Or if someone's almost like not feeling fulfilled by their character.
Can I describe the zone? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The zone is when I'm playing Johnny Deep. The zone is when I'm sitting at the table and everyone's tied around my fingers, and I know that every dice I roll is going to do exactly what I want it to do. It's a zen state where I am one with the world I am building, and no one can shake my confidence or test my knowledge, because I'm in the zone.
You are a very confident DM player and person, I think, as well, when it comes to this sort of thing. It is your zone. For me, still getting in the zone can be quite scary.
Okay, hang on, I'm sure there was another question. We've done that one. How much do you think society of a race should affect a character?
How do we mean? Sorry, what was...
I guess it'd be like societal input or racial difference, that sort of thing. There was an interesting panel at PAX apparently about this, about including or not including race as part of your story, because people don't necessarily want to have to relive it, and it could exclude race.
What do you mean? Don't want to live through race? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So do you? Let's try rewording the question. So, what do we know? We know that including racial indifference in a campaign can cause people who have to deal with racial stigmatism in real life discomfort, and it can make it uncomfortable for them to play.
Oh, so approaching it, do you mean?
Do you think there is a way you can bring things like racism into a game in a way that doesn't do that? And I suppose that does very much depend on the group as well.
Sorry, chat, my dyslexia does not let me understand questions, and Scrat knows how to phrase them for me. So race, there's two different things I would say about this, and there is one, you need to know your players at the table. So if they don't want to approach it, don't approach it. It's not fair. it's not fair to approach it if it's there. However, for me, like, so in, say, I don't know, elves don't like dwarfs, you know, and maybe there's a racism there. I actually think sometimes it's quite important to approach it, because there is this in the real world. There is. So maybe, like, sometimes I think because of the news, because of all the social media, we are so numb to it. So when you put it in a game situation where it's two completely different races or whatever, you suddenly go, hang on a minute, that's really bad. And you go, yeah, that's what's happening in the real world. Clarify it, and then maybe it makes someone make a different decision in the real world. I know that's probably really lame for me to do, but sometimes I think it's important because you can bring up topics. Oh, what one was it? I can't remember. Like, I can't remember. But what I did something about magic users weren't, you know, they were seen as being affected by gods. It was like a poison. Or I did something original. In fact, a game that never got released. I made tieflings disliked because, you know, there seemed to be basically...
Well, it's written into the PHB.
Exactly. And you've got to... It's about going, oh, I don't want to treat that tiefling that way. And then you go, yeah. So why would other people treat a person in real life like that? I think it just sometimes it can give you clarity. And again, it's sort of like if you want to do I'm losing words, you want to do the right thing, and if you can't always do it IRL, do it in the game.
So are there prevailing themes that you like to use in your plots? Are there things that you like to use because you feel strongly about them?
Not necessarily. I'm still very true to the story, but I'm also very aware that social status, social class, social actions, and the whole anthropological side of things, you put that into a fantasy world because it's in the real world. It's how humans connect. It's how we have behavior. It's why people can struggle with things, and it's how you create turmoil in a fantasy world. Because if you said, like, oh, this race want to go and do this, or tieflings want to go do this, the dwarves aren't happy about it. That happens in real life. It's just not tieflings and dwarves, but it creates the turmoil where, I mean, look at The Hobbit. You've got dwarves facing off elves, basically. They're pissed off at each other. Now, if you had that in this world, you go, it's racism. They don't like each other because he's an elf and he's a dwarf. And you're like, yeah, and that created the battle, that created this. So in some respects, it can influence. It doesn't have to be all about race. It never has to be at all. But like in The Hobbit, I'm really sorry, but you should have read it by now if you haven't read it. Spoilers. The Arkenstone in The Hobbit, that's what is wanted. That's whatever. But it develops, so everything in society starts to play a part in whatever chaos is going on in a world. So
just a quick point on something I've just seen in chat there. Like, someone's just said something about someone essentially acting racistly in public, and someone else has said that they, in their experience, they don't see them very often. Please be careful when you make comments like that, because essentially what you do is you play down what that person said, and it takes light away from the issue. I'm not telling you off. I just want to make you aware that sometimes when you say things like, oh, in my experience, you don't really see a lot of that, you can play down the issue for a lot of other people.
I think it's, and let's be honest, it's area dependent.
It is area dependent, but remember that is a privilege that you are privy to. Always try and be conscious of the privileges that you have, because, you know, that's great. That's great that you don't see it very much, but it doesn't stop another person struggling. You know, it's still worth supporting them. Cool. So what else have we got? We've got other questions coming up. Okay, so What style of conflict do you like to create for players the most? Investigative, combative, environmental, social, other?
I like mystery. Is that what that means? Again, this isn't the way you're phrasing the questions. This is
Yeah, sort of.
my brain.
Yeah.
So, okay, so combat, yes, or the fear of it. The fear that this could end up in a war. This could end up in a fight. This could... Because obviously there's so many things that come from a fight or a war or whatever. We know that, again, IRL. I particularly like mystery and people trying to figure things out. As Scrap probably knows, in Argo 37, you and V do talk a lot about what the fuck is going on. And I like that because I think...
We're always conspiring behind the scenes.
It makes people think. And sometimes it makes people more creative in themselves because they go, what if it's this? Or what if it's that? And it might not be anything to do with what I've done, but it gets people thinking. And with Eden, they've been trying to figure out who the bad guy is. And then they're very, very set on the matron is the bad guy. We need to get the matron. We need to do that. And then when you go, no, you're wrong. Matron's dead. And they're like, wait, what? That is what I live for. Not because I'm like, ha ha ha, I know more than you. As in like Bree says, she's like, I get a rush. You get the rush of like, when you're watching a really good like TV program or something and you get that rush of, oh my God, I can't wait till next week. That's what I want. I want you to want to know what's going on, basically.
Yeah, no need for an apology. Just trying to make. I'm trying always to make people more aware, always about everything, all the time. Yeah. So, have you got defined endings for all your campaigns? You're saying earlier that you take the plot hooks and you'll see where they go. Do you have a definitive ending for each one? We're 2 episodes from the finale on some of them now. On all of them now.
2 of them, there are 2 alternative endings. Just down to how you guys play it. That's it.
I missed Space Pirate Games' question earlier. So Space Pirate Games earlier said, how do you keep track of your timey, wimey, twisty story plots? And now... again asks along the similar theme, do you write up an outline or bullet list of how you want your story arc to go, because all of your stories are so well woven?
Timey-wimey stuff is in here. Most of it is from memory. Bullet point wise, the bullet points come in when I've had to make something up on the spot because they've done something completely different. And I'm like, right, I now need to remember this because this is going to affect this or that and that or whatever. I have a general idea. So when I approached Argo 37, I didn't know it was going to be timey-wimey because I didn't know who our set cast was yet. I didn't know V's character enough. I didn't know how I wanted it to weave in. Mm-hmm. But I was like, I want this sort of thing to happen. I need to see how V's character plays out. Now it's going timey-wimey. Now there's going to be a Project D. Now there's going to be a Greenway.
Yeah, wow.
Telemachus was an NPC. It's the first episode.
So I heard Charlie make that sound on the video earlier from PAX, and now it's stuck in my head. Wow.
Yes, yeah, no, it's the wow. It's the Owen Wilson thing, isn't it? Wow. Wow.
So when do you think it is great in a... Oh, hang on. The question reads, when do you think it is great in a bad ending and in a good ending?
Do you mean which one to choose?
What do you think is great in a good ending and a bad ending?
Oh, what do you think is... A good ending, I think... Well, no matter what ending, I think you need a bit of both. If you leave someone in a miserable state, all they're going to remember is the miserable bits for a very long time. So if there's a happy ending, you could either throw something slightly negative in, or yeah, but this happened, or a twist, or it doesn't have to be bad, but it's not super positive. Just something that makes you go, oh, wait a second, is that going to be bad? Or is that going to be good?
That classic old showbiz saying, isn't it? Always leave them wanting more.
Yeah, I guess so.
True.
But like with the happy ending, with the bad ending, like if there's a horrible battle at the end and they're stood over, like, I don't know, a massacre of the armies that didn't have to be called or anything like that, I might then go across and say, where are you now? It's been 10 years. Where are your characters now? How are they living? Are they married? Have they got a job? What are they doing? And then you can give it a more positive light.
Yeah. And I guess here's another one. Hollow says, I just love Telemachus. When you insert an NPC into a game like that, do you ever plan for them to become an integral part of the story that Telemachus has?
Originally was just an NPC. Because I didn't know if Blister was going to take it or not. So sometimes, yeah, like there's in Eberron we've got Rush. Did not expect them to latch on to Talon. I didn't expect them to latch on to Talon. Talon could have just been and gone if they wanted to, but now I'm going to start treating him as how like Blue is or something like that. So he is woven into the story now. Things are happening. And Telemachus just became pretty pivotal, and I made her the way she did when I saw that.
Looks like we got a new friend.
So Alara and Blister, they don't have. Alara and Blister started off as and there's Alara.
There's welcome, Mini Terrain Domain on Metadata. Welcome to our interview with Alice. We've already gone through a lot of things, but if you guys would like to ask some questions of Alice, we won't mind repeating a few things. I know V, I can see you sitting there in chat. If you want to ask any questions of Alice, and
it can't be what's going on, so
then, let us know and we will get to it.
But like Alara and Blister needed something to bring them closer together, whether it was friendship-wise, romance, or whatever. So, sorry, Telemachus, you're being dragged off.
Yeah.
So sometimes the NPC can become important in that sense, rather than anything else.
And there's another question here. Tavern Tale Podcast asks, what's the best ending? Happy? Satisfying? Unhappy? In your opinion?
Depends on the group. I don't have a favourite. I think, again, it depends on the group and whether you think you might come back to that group at any time. It doesn't have to be like for years, but if you think you might come back, it's really open. I don't think there's a right or wrong way, and I don't have a favourite. So
what is something that you put into a story for the sake of making you happy or smile?
Character development. I know I keep saying it. I love it. I love character development. I will throw a Wizmo and a disco ball in there if it means there's stuff like, if you've seen Eden from last week, the whole thing with Soren wanting a hug. That was it. And I mean, look at the scene that came from it. But I did that because I wanted to see Soren. That wasn't someone going, I want to see this thing get AI and do this and that. This was me going, okay, she's got AI. What happens if I do this? It'll be a nice moment. So let's do that.
Welcome in again, M2D, Mini Terrain Domain. I know you guys sometimes decompressing after the thing is important. So if you guys have finished pressing now, welcome. We are asking Alice questions. If you have any questions about the way she runs her campaigns or anything like that, please fire away. Please do fire away. We're carrying on with questioning the lines of Eden, Eberron, and Argo as well.
Yeah, feel free to ask about any of those. I just won't tell spoilers.
What has been your favourite character moment across your streams?
I think there's ones for each game. So there's too many really. So Eberron, like we spoke about earlier, Vesh's character heading out onto the stone bridge and how everyone became part of that. How Lauren's character Tart is like, you're not on your own. You're not. This isn't it. Trying to get across to Vesh, it's okay to have friends and a family, even if you are clumsy and can cause a lot of trouble to come your way. And with Emet, when Emet scared Vesh, Emet terrified Vesh when he killed those guards. And then Emet was trying to work out how he could, I don't know, gain his trust again. And I think that whole episode ended with Vesh crying on Emet. And again, sorry, there's so many moments, like in Eberron, when Emet was talking to Blue about the Warforged not being remembered. Why is there no record of the Warforged? And then when it comes to Eden, there's the Soren. There's, in fact, a lot of last week was where they were all telling each other how much they meant to each other, their characters. They thought they were going to their death, and they all wanted to just talk.
Getting ready for a fight.
Yeah. And the look on their face where when I killed his aliens and they could do nothing about it because their characters didn't know, apart from Meta. That was one of my favourites. But in Argo, I think there's a lot, like when Blister is on his own, Alara's gone, Telemachus is gone, and he's going over to that ship singing to himself. And just little moments with Alara and Telemachus, just tiny little moments, just making sure that each other are okay. Sitting on Alara's shoulders, or when you all met all these doppelgangers in Aberdeen, it's like Alara's like, just shove Telemachus behind. It's literally those little tweaks to it.
Windows into the soul sort of thing.
Yeah, it shows you more of the character.
When you create an NPC, what's the first thing you do? The name, physicality, or the voice? As Tevin Tales podcast.
I think it depends. Most of the time, it's the personality. It's what I want them to do in the story. Are they there to flavor it? Are they there to play a massive part? What are they meant to do? So with Telemachus, I was like, okay, well, I want to have some diversity in the group, and I want to bring a team together. How am I going to do this? Happy-go-lucky, young child, smart, clever. She can be as smart and as clever as she wants. At the end of the day, to the others, she is a child with no parents. So it's, I'm going to look after her, whether it's as a father figure or as a big brother figure, or just as, I need to keep the small child alive. And then I start to develop what they look like and their voice.
So what you're saying is, when you develop an NPC, you don't develop them, you develop what the party needs. Or what the party... Yeah. Okay.
The same way Rush, he'd just seen Emet kill everyone. He needed another person his age. Vesh needed someone his age. He needed a Kalishtar. He's never seen one before. Now, Rush might not stay with the group very long, but Vesh has now seen a Kalishtar that isn't like, because the only interaction he's had with Kalishtar before that is them turning him away.
Yeah.
So it's giving them something nice. I see you, Potato Hollow.
Yeah, that just cracks me up. So it's not what they have, it's how you can manipulate people. Okay.
It's giving them something nice, because a lot of the time you're in a dark world. Telemachus is nice. Rush is nice. Talon is nice. And Talon brought Tart out of her shell. Because he was simple and sweet, and he just wanted to do the right thing. Which, for her character, she is like a rogue, a stealthy, sneaky thing that always. And he was the opposite. He was that pure, like, yeah, I'll help you. Come on in. And it just makes that difference. And I will be right back.
Okay. I'll get to some more of these questions very soon. I am thoroughly enjoying actually sitting and interviewing my wife about a great being new to both of you. Where can you see our games? Well, you can see our games right here, Mondays to Thursdays, 1 PM, 6 PM, and 10 PM EST. You can also catch up on YouTube, as this week is penultimate week and next week is the finale. So if you want to go and catch up, you can catch up over there. I thoroughly recommend Eden, would probably be the #1 game I recommend to you. Followed by Argo 37. Those two are my favourites. They're my favourite games. Only one of which I play in. Eden, normally when I'm not in a stream, I sit and I try and catch up with the admin, getting people sorted into groups, organising group chats, talking to sponsors, all of that sort of stuff. When Eden is on, I have to stop. I just have to stop, sometimes crack open a beer, and enjoy it. Because it's just so... and I'm not even in that one, it's just beautiful. But yeah, check us out on YouTube, and we've got a bunch of other stuff as well. Here are my social links. We have notifications on our Discord whenever we go live, and we also do the same thing on Twitter. And if you want to get into a game yourself, send me a DM on Twitter and I'll sort it out.
Sorry, I'm back.
Welcome back. So, what else have we got? What is something that you would not do in a campaign that you would do in a one-shot?
That I wouldn't do in a campaign.
Wouldn't do in a campaign, but would do in a one-shot. So for me, probably summon the DeLorean. Although it might happen.
Yeah, the silly stuff. The really silly stuff where you're literally just there to make your face ache from laughing. So something just really ridiculous that could happen. I mean, sometimes that happens in a campaign anyway. But it just won't be as, like... If a DeLorean turned up in Eberron, they'd be like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Actually, it could work in Eden. Like, it could probably work in Eden.
Oh my god, an old junkered DeLorean.
Yeah, just...
like, made from
Makes a note. Hang up. But, yeah, probably do something absolutely outrageous which could destroy a story. But you've got 3 hours of a one-shot. The same way when I did... the Through the Red Door one-shot, which I do as my spooky one-shot every now and then. You could die. That's what will happen. I will put in a big baddie monster, which I would put in a campaign, but there's less chances to survive, because if it happens, it happens. It's a one-shot, I think.
Yeah, the old one-shot mentality. Okay, so... Yeah, okay. So, how do you play your bad guys so well? Adam is great, for example, from Space Pirate Games.
Oh, thank you. I didn't think... I enjoy playing bad guys. My tip for bad guys is don't make them hittable. Don't make them that big bad guy with all the teeth and all the weapons and everything like that. Because people see that and go, I want to kill him. I'll take my axe and I'm going to kill him. What if it's much scarier? It's a weedy little guy you cannot hit. Because there are too many... he's protected by too much. And I don't necessarily mean by bodyguards. I mean, like, so in Eden, if you kill, you can be killed because you're a disturber of the peace. So you're not just going to kill someone willy-nilly. I did one for a necromancer's wish, and they couldn't touch the person because he was protected by political ties and other things. So you did that. The repercussions, that's the difference. You give the players repercussions for killing this, but let them know it beforehand.
The old Telltale game.
Like, yeah, like, so in the real world, if you killed someone, you go to jail. In D&D, a lot of the time, you're like, yeah, kill this one, move on to the next one. No, give them consequences, and then they've actually got to go, hang on a minute, we need to be clever about this. They've got the bad guy, Adam Watson, in Eden. And he's not a big guy. In fact, he's like a 19-year-old, but he's clever. Bless you. Bless you. But it's basically a clever, tactical bad guy over a big guy with an axe, effectively. I would say. I'm really sorry. I hope that answered your question.
Okay, so let's just go back through.
Sorry, cat's attacking my feet.
When coming up with a name of the thing, do you think it's better to do it on air? Oh, hang on. When coming up with the name of a thing, do you think it's better to err on what is more sillier or what's more fitting? Oh, to err on. Which way do you go? Do you go for silly or fitting when you're naming something?
Naming what specifically? Do you mean?
Good question.
So, if it's naming a person, think of that person's background. Do you think that person would have had a set of parents that would have given them a joke name? Or would they have given them a name that they thought, I don't know, I want them to mix with higher upper class people in this world, so I'm going to give them an upper class name, whereas their parents could have really bog standard names. When it comes to places, what's nearby? Is there a river nearby? Is there a big city? It's how we name things anyway. I mean, you can come up with something silly. Again, in one-shots, we do silly things. So, again, it's down to, am I doing this in a one-shot or am I doing it in a campaign? How big a part is this going to play in my story? Can I put up with that name for a whole campaign? Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of the players that come into Argo 37 hate me because they're like, Telemachus, are you serious? I can't remember this name. Like, a lot of the time, it is difficult to pronounce sometimes. Mm-hmm. So, I get it.
So what is your favourite part of Numenera Call of Cthulhu 5e? What is it about each system that you like the most?
Cthulhu, the sanity check. That is it, the sanity check. D&D 5e, it's all the checks. I think they're just a good standard set of checks where it is literally like perception, insight, whatever. You can really flavor it to your character. Cypher for creativity. Like, you can just go, yeah, why not? Let's go. Like, this works. And you've got 3 things to roll from, and it's not got the combat thing. Like, I remember talking to Scrat about this after I first played Cypher. I was like, my character would have backed away, but the person gets an opportunity attack if I back away in D&D. And I was like, but my character would have been backing away, looking at the bad guy, so they wouldn't have done that. In Cypher, it's like, yeah, you do it. Now roll for an attack. It just gives you that tiny bit more freedom, I think.
Yeah.
And there's some things you can't fit into a dexterity check. You just can't.
I use different parts of my different systems to make the pirate game improv. Do you think you'd do a game like that? Do you think you'd do a system like that where you use pick and mix rules?
I'd need to know more rules. You know a lot more than I do. I've only played Call of Cthulhu twice. I've played Conan. I've played D&D, and I've played Cypher. That's it. Like, the Ryutama, as you were saying, it's got a very diverse, fighting combat section. So, and I've never had that.
Michael Wayne says, just thinking of different ways for people to give donations to have happen. Well done. Well, yeah, there is a part of that. Actually, I must admit, I'm not the biggest fan of the Wild Magic Surges anymore. I think they're a fun thing, but I'm not sure how useful they are to new players. But I have the dilemma that I'm doing this full time, and I need a way to encourage people to interact with the stream. So monetizing the stream is one of the things that is difficult for me. I like giving nat 20s and advantages and that sort of thing, but when you do that, it means people have got to use them, otherwise people see a great big stack and they stop donating, you know. So
I don't need that to keep it going.
Yeah, we do. We need it to keep it going, essentially. This is our full-time job. We don't... Alice is a photographer also, but that's also self-employed. We're not employed on the side of this. So monetizing the stream is really important. Really important to us, and these last couple of months we've been behind on our goals, so it's been a bit of a struggle. So trying to think of new ways to monetize the stream is a big part of what goes on behind the scenes. Because we want it to be fun as well. We don't want it to feel like we're just coming along with the bloody charity pot and shoving it in your face like the people on the street, you know. We want it to be something fun. We want it to be like...
We want to give you something
treating
back
yourself,
for it.
you know?
Yeah.
It's like just like going out to watch a cinema movie or something like that. That's how we want our donations to feel. So we're constantly trying to think and improve on that too. What else have we got? How much room do you leave for players doing their thing versus the direction you need them to go?
Oh, as long as they're headed in a fairly decent direction. If they want to sidetrack, they can sidetrack. Again, with the fort and Vesh going up on the battlements, I was like, yeah, do it. In fact, I love that sort of thing. Don't get on a plane and go to another continent. But if you can walk back there, that's fine. It doesn't matter. I give probably quite a lot of leeway.
For me, I'll probably let them do whatever they want. I'll have when I'm planning a campaign, I've got a vague thing. I'll be like, this is the core of it. This is what they need to work out to do it. Excellent. I'll leave that there. Do what you like. You know. Every now and again, I'll get that thing to poke you. But until then, go nuts.
You can tell, like, you can give someone a nudge in the right direction. But if they want to do something first, I'm like, yeah, go for it. So, you said earlier that you want to try Call of Cthulhu or any other systems out there that you're desperate to try? Any people in particular you want to work with? There's a lot of people I would love to work with. There's a lot of systems I would like to try. So when you say people to work with, do you mean gaming companies or people in general, like players, that people I know?
Column A, bit of column B, answer applies to both, I think.
I want to try Invisible Sun. I want to run Invisible Sun. I want to run Numenera. I want to run Call of Cthulhu. I want to... I'd love to run another dark matter thing at some point, now having all the information I have on it. There's a lot of things. I want to do. Regards with working with people that want to tell a story and really get into the role play. I'm not like, oh, I really want to have that person in particular or anything. If you want to tell a story and just have fun, then I kind of want to play with you. That's literally it. And who really wants to throw themselves into it and get creative, but being creative as a group. There's lots of systems. I want to try Ryutama. I would really like to try playing in Ryutama. I love Japan. We went to Japan. My friend lives in Japan, and just the feel of it is something that's quite nice to me. I would definitely do more Eberron if I could.
Yeah.
If I could do a lot more Eberron, there is so much I could do with Eberron. And again, I have, in this lovely little book, I've got 6 cipher setting ideas that will probably all come to the channel at some point, whether it's one season at a time or whatever. But I've got 6 in there that I'm planning and looking at, which I like. So, yeah.
So what are your thoughts about using different things such as coins or cards rather than rolls?
I don't know. Only because rolls give you a wider thing. You can go, yes, it does happen, no, it doesn't happen. Or you can vary it. You can be like, well, it kind of happens, but this happens as well. I think maybe that gives more role-playing side of it. I mean, I definitely want to try the coins and cards thing. I definitely want to try it. But I don't know. I haven't tried it yet, so I don't know. I love the dice because, as people say, the dice tells the story. It's not so specific. It's not like you see this, that, and the other. You could go, well, you see that. What is that? You can give a bit more mystery to it.
Okay, so is there a setting that you really want to tell a story in? For example, Cyberpunk, Star Wars, modern fantasy?
There's loads I want to tell a story in. There are 2 in particular that I'm bringing to the stream in season 2, so I'm not going to say what they are, that I've wanted to do for a while. But there is a lot. And again, I think it's Cypher system that I'm going to have to use. I'm working on some stuff for Cypher system for different settings, and I'm talking a mixture of futuristic, past, and pure fantasy, pure on the spot, let's make it up, let's do what happens. So but there are 2 things that, like I said, I'm running in season 2, which, yeah, there's some settings I've seriously wanted to play for a while.
Okay, what would be your dream players, such as celebrities or fictional people who you would love to DM?
I don't know enough names of celebrities and stuff. I'm really rubbish with that.
Would you want to run it for clever people? Like, it says fictional characters as well. Would you want to run a game for Moriarty and Sherlock?
Oh yeah, I'd love it just to watch them piss each other off.
Yeah.
If I could run it for Moriarty and Sherlock and try and make them not kill each other. Maybe have John Watson in the middle, like, guys, come on.
Are you the hidden solution to that problem that no one ever thought of? Sherlock and Moriarty could get along. This
is like their therapy. Yeah.
They just need to play D&D.
Yeah. I don't know. People I want to play with. Most of the time, I have friends that I just want to play with. Like, one of the people I absolutely adore playing with is like V and Tool School and Ash. And like, there's so many people I've already played with that I'm like, I really want to play a game with you guys again. It's not like...
We play a lot of games with a lot of people. We play a lot of viewer games with random people who rock up. And I don't know what it'd be like to play with some celebrities. So let's say that we had some of the biggest people in D&D at the minute. Let's say we had Matt Mercer, Satine Phoenix, Greg Tito, and one more. Pick someone else, around the table. There might be a weird dynamic there where we're like, new people and these are all experienced people. We would never know until we got there. I'd like to think that there wouldn't be, actually, because having spoken to Satine, she's actually just a genuine.
Yeah, I love Satine.
Nice
she was so lovely. Yeah.
It's interesting when you run as many different group games as we do. Some groups just click.
It's the clicking that you want.
You don't know why. You can't tell before you do. And I spend a lot of time trying to get groups that will click together. For our prolonged campaigns. The viewer games, as anyone turns up, generally people who play well with others get put into those viewer games as regular cast members to give a welcome to new people. But it's figuring out which groups will click. Our 7th C group clicked really well. We get random viewer games that really, really, really click. And
they click.
Eden clicked. And other games, other games, the click doesn't happen so well. It's just slightly more difficult to get into character. You know, I can't think of any off the top of my head. I haven't even got the list of games in front of me.
But I was gonna say, I think the groups that are coming in season 2 as well, we've made sure, or you have made sure, because you're very, very good at it, that the group should click, or at least you know they're all gonna complement each other. Both
try.
New people, past people, whatever. It's something we really, because you want everyone to have a positive experience. We don't just throw everyone in one game and go, yeah, go.
Yeah.
A lot of thought goes into it.
What art style would your games be if they were in cartoons or movies?
Oh, I don't know. Again, I think it depends which campaign. Like Eberron, that's got to be Studio Ghibli level. You know, with all the magical sort of backdrops and everything like that. I feel that would be almost the Studio Ghibli-esque. And the amount of time we end up describing food.
Yeah.
Like, because Ghibli food is beautiful, so if, like, Eberron came in... And they did Earthsea. And it's almost that, not that setting, but the more fantasy side of it. It's a cartoon. Or movies, I see. So Eden would take a lot from 80s sci-fi.
Blade Runner.
What's it? I keep saying True Lies, that's not it. What is it, the one with Arnie?
True Lies is one with Arnie.
No. Sci-fi one with Arnie.
Oh,
what's it called? I've completely gone. They remade it.
Not Red Alert,
Not Blade Runner, not... It's based on the... I've even forgot that name. Philip K. Dick's Dream of Electric.
Remember something... What's the name of
Total Recall.
Total Recall, yeah, it's the name of the company, that's it.
It would
Total
be
Recall.
That sort of...
Get your ass to Mars.
Yeah, it'd be that sort of thing. I'm not sure about Argo. Argo 37 has a mixture. There's a lot of lightheartedness in it, but there's definitely Event Horizon which crept in, which I didn't know was going to happen.
So, Wild Engineers just asked a question, which has triggered me to remember another question that I had. How do you balance giving hints about what's really going on in the game versus the current narrative in a campaign? And my additional question to that is, everything you do is relevant.
Yes.
How?
What do you mean?
How do you do it? How do you do it? Because you said earlier that you improv things, so how do you keep track of it all?
What do you mean, how I keep track of the timey wimey stuff? Or the hints level is easy. I know the answer, so I'm going to give you a hint, maybe in a slightly obscured way, but it won't be like, hey, this is the hint. I'm going to give you that hint through an NPC. I'm going to give you that hint through the name Greenway on the desk of the doctor.
Yeah.
That's it. That's literally it. It's like, imagine you've got a picture with spot the difference. Where am I hiding that in that picture for you to find it? It's not someone going, oh, by the way, I'm going to do this in 10 years' time and do this or that. It's like, no, you've been on the Greenway ship. You're going to see the sign that says Greenway. And when you don't get it, Telemachus is going to ask why her grandfather's in there. It's not whap bang in the middle of your face. There's a whole reason that Telemachus' grandfather, James Greenway, or John Greenway, I can't remember, that's really bad. See, that's when my brain fizzles out, when I'm not in the zone. You never saw his face because the disease obscured it. So I don't want you to know it's him straight away. So I need that disease to obscure the face so that later down the line you suddenly go, oh, you've only got the name. So as much as the person's in the room, you've only got his name. You don't know what he looks like.
So we're gonna wrap up soon, chat. So give us any last questions you have. We'll try and get them
I
in
could keep going.
before we wrap. I know you could. I know. But we're gonna wrap soon. Like I say, Mouse Guard is finished. We had the finale last week, so if you want to go and catch up with that, that's on YouTube. I'm told it's a testament to how Mouse Guard should be played. So I'm told. So it might be worth checking it out. Maybe in the future we might bring Mouse Guard back again. Maybe play some Red Wall or something.
Yes, let's do Red Wall. Can I be a hare?
It depends. You
Or
might be
an
the
otter?
DM. If you're the DM, you can do everything.
Nah.
Yeah. So
I'm looking
how
forward.
much are you going to melt me and V's minds before the end of this? You look so happy. So happy.
Actually, I think your brains will melt a little bit, and you'll think, "Oh my god, what the hell?" But I think it's chat that's gonna riot.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's chat that is actually going to be the what the hell more than Alara and Blister or V and Scrap.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm looking forward to season 2.
In Eden, how much are you going to torture them poor players? Every week, we end up spending as long decompressing with the Eden group as we do playing. Because Alice messes them up so bad. In the best way. They love it. They do love it. But we spend a long time afterwards just sitting there going, what the hell? How much are you going to mess them up in the finale?
I don't think there's going to be a lot of mess up. I think if anything, there's going to be closure. Of course, it's not going to be full closure because, as I said, you do something different every time.
So Alice isn't willing to fully disclose her full disclosure plan.
Yeah. But we did riot for Kevin. Poor Kevin. They haven't gone to look for Kevin. I never said Kevin was dead.
Poor Kevin. Okay. So we've got 3 questions from chat. Did you plan...
Will we ever find out Kevin's fate?
Well, that's very topical. Will we ever find out Kevin's fate?
Have
No
they gone
spoilers.
to look
We
for
did
him?
say at the beginning no spoilers, so...
Have they gone to look for him?
Did you plan all of the bombshells you dropped in Eden? Like Adam?
Adam was planned from the very beginning. Adam Watson was always planned, that's
Not
why
just
he has...
planned, carefully orchestrated. Why don't you tell the chat about what you did with Adam, Alice?
Which bit?
The whole thing. How you engineered him as a bad guy.
Okay. No, because Potato Hollow's going to jump out about social manipulation again.
That's fine. Do it. Do it. Come on, tell us about it.
Okay, so Adam Watson, I created for them to be the last person they suspected by making him small, making him slightly weird, like weedy. He's that awkward guy that doesn't know how to talk to girls. He can. He's a very smooth talker, but he played it to Bree's character, Dot, that he really fancied her. He fancied her, like, you know, oh, will you go on a date with me? And like acting all nervous. And I also orchestrated it so that, you know, Daniel Chen, who they all thought was the bad guy, was actually trying to kill Adam. But they thought because Daniel Chen was bad that poor little Adam couldn't do anything. I also did a thing where one of the, I think it was the matron who said, never trust, oh, what was it? The matron said something like, never trust someone who is nervous or anything like that.
Fidgets uncomfortably enough.
Fidget, yeah. So I made the good guy, Daniel Chen, fidget. But I made Adam fidget as well. But they were so focused on Daniel Chen fidgeting, they just thought Adam was nervous. This is the bit that Adam was probably thinking I'm a horrible person and social manipulation side of it. Or Scrat is thinking, sorry. The reason his name is Adam Watson is because Adam, 1, is associated with the Garden of Eden. And 2, you all know an Adam, you know Scrap. This is Adam. A very friendly, happy, lovely person who just wants to have fun. And Watson, because a lot of the time people associate the name Watson with John Watson, as in Sherlock Holmes. John Watson was the protector. He was the all-round good guy. He kept Sherlock in check. He saved Sherlock from Moriarty on things. So it's a word association that most people, when you say those two names, for the situation as viewers, you will think nice guy. The characters will think nice guy.
Literally engineered him from the very start to be the perfect sleeper agent bad guy.
But I gave them hints all the way throughout. I didn't just make
I flipped shit when I found that out.
I'm
doing it for you, chat. You're welcome.
I didn't not give them anything. I gave them something every single time. There was a reason why the first thing he said to Dot was, "You never called." At the very beginning, the bad guy gave them the number. Because in his head, he's like, I'm playing a game. I'm going to give them the answer at the very beginning. I'm going to tell them who the bad guy is. It's me. And he always said through every episode, I wish Dot would call me. And he would say to JD, get Dot to call me. And they all just assumed it's for a date. But he gave them the link to him at the very beginning. It's the same way Dot didn't realize she was feeding out the disease through the medicine. He carried the disease. He was one of the people he was on the lowest of the low jobs for the clinic. Because no one thinks, oh, the bad guy is going to be the lowest level. He's going to be up top somewhere. He's going to be a doctor like Daniel Chen. He's going to have connections. He's going to be able to do that. You can have connections lower. You just would be the person listening and manipulating. You can become very, I guess Adam Watson played the innocent, couldn't hurt a fly, basically. But the entire time, he was just having fun. That's literally all it was. He gave them the phone number in the second episode.
Such a ballsy move. Such a ballsy move to go in episode 1. I know that these players aren't gonna figure out that this guy is the bad guy.
You have to do a ballsy move. You have to do a ballsy move, otherwise they're gonna go, why do we not know enough about this character? They don't go, oh well, the bad guy wouldn't give us his number. Why would the bad guy give us his mobile number?
She played a very, very long game. A very long game. Now, there was one more question we were going to do before we closed down. Do you ever find it appropriate to unleash a bombshell before the end of a session? Episode 9. Eden episode 9. I can answer this one for you. Eden episode 9, Alice doesn't just unleash bombshells at the end of the session. She unleashes the first bombshell about 8 minutes in, and then you're just holding on to the side.
I don't remember which session this was.
That's the one where you started dropping bombs left, right, and center, and I was raving about it for a week.
I don't remember that one. For me, it's one long story, so I can't.
Okay. You remember the episode where Renee was in her stuck face for like literally the whole game?
I thought that was when I killed 2 aliens.
No, that was a couple of episodes before.
Oh.
Yeah, still freaking out. Me too. So everyone, I hope you've enjoyed this interview with Alice. We think we got around to all the questions, and maybe you have a little window into the beautiful mind that is my wife. I never crossed my wife, by the way.
You do learn not to.
This has been a really fun interview. Thank you, Alice.
Thank you. It's been fun to be a part. I've never been interviewed before, so.
Now, if you want to be socially manipulated by Alice in real life, hire her as a photographer. She'll manipulate you into positions that make you look good.
And look, everyone looks good. It's just that some people just put themselves in awkward positions. Everyone looks good all the time. I know some people are like, oh, I look good when there's a better angle. I'm like, no, you look good all the time. You're just standing wrong. It's
Yeah. Alice is all about feel-good photography. She's about self-love and all that sort of thing. So if you fancy some self-love, she does weddings and things like that. That's where most of her income comes from. If you guys want to book Alice, check out her website.
and then I destroy you in D&D later.
And then she'll destroy you in D&D later, yeah. She does do international as well. We're doing a wedding we're flying out next year to Texas for a wedding, or maybe just Alice's. I'm not sure yet. We'll see. But yeah, do check that out. Do check it out. As for the channel, thank you all for coming along. New people, welcome. We are so glad to have you among us. I'll pop that social link again. The Discord is an inclusive, safe space where you guys can come and talk about TTRPGs all the time. Pretty much all of our information is free, so if you have any questions about anything, don't hesitate to ask. If it's plot-based, if it's OBS-based, or anything like that, if people ask me, I'll generally give you an answer. I don't believe in having trade secrets. We all do better if one of us does better, and I'm sure the more of you I help, the more you'll help me in the future. Pay it forward, I guess is what I'm saying. Pay it forward. Twitter, if you guys want to get into a game, send me a DM on Twitter. That is by far the best place to contact me. Send me a DM on Twitter, and I will get you a game. Simple as that. I've pretty much filled Christmas now. I think I've got a couple of slots, but I've already offered them to people, so I'm just waiting for them to get back, and if they say yes or no, then I might offer them to a couple of others. I've pretty much filled Christmas though, so the next time I start taking on players will be Season 2, but I need to organise all of Christmas first, and all of the promotion for Season 2. So I'm going to take a little break from answering DMs, so if I don't answer you straight away, please don't think I'm ignoring you, I'm not. I will get around to responding to you. If I haven't even read the message, that is a good sign, because it means that it's sitting light grey in my inbox, which means I'll find it later because it's highlighted.
I am looking forward to Season 2. I'm going to be really sad when Season 1 ends. Like, really, really sad.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of good stuff coming in Season 2, I think.
YouTube, if you guys want to go and check out our content, go and check out the YouTube. It's fantastic. Let's see. I can see, thank you very much, Nightbot coming in to show me all things. We do pull our Wild Magic Surges tables from the Discord, so you can add them there. Like I said, we might be getting rid of the Wild Magic Surges for the next season. We're going to try and think of a different way that we can monetize to help encourage roleplay and new players, because after all, the focus on this channel is developing new players. You can also see there our Patreon and our merch websites. Today, if you use the code STOCKING25 on Redbubble, if you use the code STOCKING25 on Redbubble, then you can get a excuse me. Use the code STOCKING25. There's a 25% discount across the Redbubble website. So if you like the look of one of our lovely hoodies or anything like that, go ahead, check it out. At the moment, there's 25% off, and I'll still get the same amount. So please do go and do that. Patreon as well. We have exclusive stuff and we have non-exclusive stuff. Every 3 times a month, we release articles about TTRPGs, DMing, behind-the-scenes stuff, all that good stuff.
And if you like the photography side of things, like as well, I'm working on some projects that are coming, so keep an eye out. There's stuff. There's so much stuff.
Keep your eye on the Twitter as well, because in the next couple of weeks, at the end of this week, we're doing a 12-hour charity stream for our friends who are being evicted at Christmas. The week after that, we're going to be doing at the weekend. It's all finales, and then at the very end, we have 4 sessions on an academy day where we're going to be trying to boost to the rest of our goal, maybe get to our stretch goal. If we hit our costs goals, we've got a stretch goal to try and save enough to get to Gen Con next year. And great to hear your sweater arrived, Spud. Thank you so much for supporting us in that way. It's great. And then after the Academy Day to try and hit all our goals.
Looks like we got a new friend.
Oh, Chaos Conductors, thank you so much for literally coming in late. We're just about closing up the stream, but thank you so much for that raid. You guys, you're so welcome. We'll find someone good for you to pass you on to, I promise. But yeah, after we've done that last session to try and hit our goals, we will then go on to announcing next season. Announcing all the shows that will be in next season and the casts. So keep your eye on Twitter. That's where I'll message everything first. I'll probably also do it on Discord. So yeah,
There's so much. There's so
much. There is so much going on. The bit you guys don't get to see is us behind the scenes. We work from home, and I pretty much never stop. Quite often I'll work 18-20 hours a day just to try and get through it all.
Which we are working on, but obviously we've got to get to a stable point so that we can sleep. So I know everyone's like, please sleep.
Yeah, a lot of people are telling us to look after our welfare, and we do really, really, really appreciate it. But at the same time, this is a fledgling business, and I'm trying to nurture it and try and make it into a success. Are there other ways we can help? Yes, always. Word of mouth. Tell your friends about the streams that you enjoy watching. Retweet. Come and watch. If people see you watching, they're likely to come along with you. You can tweet about us. Write recommendations. If you see someone on Twitter saying, "Oh, I really wish I could get into a game of D&D," a lot of people do this for me, and I love it when I see it. Tell them about us. Say, "Hey, Scraticus gets people into D&D all the time. Why don't you pop him a message?" And that is fantastic. I appreciate that so much.
And we always like to meet new people. We don't have a set group where we're like, no, only you play with us. We're like, no, we really want to play with everyone.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
And I mean, there could be other ways that I can get people to help as well. It really just depends what your skills are. If you have a specific set of skills that you think could be useful to me, don't hunt me down. Don't, wherever I am, don't find me. If it's that specific set of skills. But do let me know if you're looking at my Twitter posts and thinking, these could be better. Don't tell me how they could be better. That'll piss me right off. But send me a message and be like, hey, I do this for a living. Would this be something you're interested in if I was to give you some advice? And then when I'm ready to accept advice, I'll be like, hey, actually, that sounds really good. For example, if you want to help in different ways, let me know. I've tried that with a few people. None of them actually went through. No? Oh, that's a shame. But that's the thing. It's like at the moment I'm looking for new sponsors. I'm always looking for new sponsors because I mostly rely on the donations. The reason I push the donations goal up on the top right there is because that's where 80% of my income comes from. So that's why I push it so hard, and I'm always looking for new sponsors. So it's the same thing as with sponsors. When you message 100 people, one person says yes. So just the way it is. What else have we got? I've talked about YouTube. We've got sponsors. We're literally talking about sponsors. Let's talk about our sponsors, because we are currently sponsored by Bird in the Storm Publishing, who do some lovely merch. Hang on. They do
lift up the first layer.
They do some lovely merch. Very comfortable. Go and check it out. They also do mugs and hoodies. Next year they're going to be bringing us a very exciting
We're doing some stuff.
project. If you were drunk at PAX, you might have heard Tall School talking about it drunkenly, because he revealed that he did tell a few people and they got very, very excited. But we're going to be bringing something to us next season. We also have Mage Hand Press, who are the masterminds behind Dark Matter, the 5e space expansion for D&D 5e, which I've already said, which is what Argo 37 is running, which is where we've been talking today about all the timey wimey stuff. Next season we have another game. It's not run by Alice, but it's run by another popular DM. We'll be announcing it in just a couple of weeks, and it's going to be tons of fun. And you should go and check it out. I know, the Paladin of Fields. Getting between the sheets of the Paladin of Fields. No, he has excellent taste. Tall School, excellent taste in drinks. When we visited him, we were well looked after. Let's see. We talked about sponsors. We talked about everything. So now I guess it's just the raid. And Spud, I love your raid cry that you came up with. I think that's beautiful. I think we should definitely use that. Let's see. Oh, this will be cool. So, usually at this time, on a Monday, Margaret Chrome would be in this stream with us. Today, of course, because we've already had the finale, she is not. So, why don't we head over there and go and say hello to Maggie? That'd be great. She is a great content creator. She doesn't just do D&D and stuff like that. She also does crafting. That's what she's doing at the moment. She does charity streams. She does all sorts. It's gonna be a good time. So let's head over and say hello to her. The raid cry, thanks to Potato Hollow, is all I'm gonna say is I need more notebooks for season 2.
I do. I need them.
And that's what we're going to take across with us. We are currently live Monday to Thursday, 1 p.m., 6 p.m., and 10 p.m. EST. This week is penultimate week. Next week is finale week. So check out all of the shows and keep on evoking emotions. There it says at the bottom of the screen. Let's evoke emotions. Yeah. Keep on evoking them. We'll see you next time.
See you later, guys. Bye.
Bye.